Dan's a fantastic man. He really is.
Ladies and gentlemen.
What's up, everybody? It's Dan French Workbench Podcast here on a Saturday. Thank you all if you guys are just tuning in or whenever you tune in. Appreciate you guys having us. We are the show that has the channel with the most real and behind-the-scenes information regarding financing, real estate, money talk, entrepreneurs through on-job experience and education here in Las Vegas. We're streaming live in Las Vegas. I got a full crew today. We're going to go around the room and discuss everything. We're going to talk today about real estate updates. We're going to talk about builders and have they stopped really, promoting or really getting into a position of building more homes. Seems like builder permits right now and building starts are down. Building permits are actually up, but building starts are down. We're also going to talk to Brett about an update with what's going on in the Las Vegas housing market. We're going to talk to Mr. Rick Rains about what's happening with the rental sector. And we're going to talk with Esmeralda, and we also have another guest here, which is Tony Gutierrez. So let's get right into it. Mr. Rick Rains, what's up, buddy? How are you?
Good morning.
Thanks for coming on again, man. You were great last week. We appreciate you coming on. What's going on with you today?
Love to be here. Excited to be here. I can talk about just about anything, but preferably property management. So
Is that it, huh?
that's pretty much it.
That's all you want to talk about.
Well, I'll chime in where I can.
Well, I know we were talking about everybody out at the clubs last night,
Yeah.
right? So everybody was
Yeah.
out partying it up. You guys just getting back?
Rick
I
just got
came
in. He
straight- I
came
just
rolling
came
in straight from the
here.
club.
Straight here. That was it.
So Rick, where'd you go, man? Did you go to? You went to Aria? Where did you go, man? Where was
the Jewel.
That was at the Jewel.
The Jewel?
That's right. Yeah.
We also got Mr. Brett Jenny. Dude, where were you at last night, man? Did you sleep?
No, I was up clubbing all night like I usually do. I mean, I'm
you
like
were,
a
man.
robot. I just club and party and sell real estate.
Right.
Yeah. Not what I'm for. Not this
What
age.
do you think
however.
the average night for sleep for you is, man? About 2 hours?
No, I go
like
to
that.
bed. Last night I went to bed at 1:30. I go to bed usually between midnight and 12:30. I get up at like 5.
And
So I
you-
get like 5 hours.
You wake up with like your heart pumping, like you're ready to go, right? Like you're just like I got to get out. I got to get my right.
Real estate is
I'm
a
stunned
side
for
gig.
I'm stunned for the first minute. after the first minute, I just kind of I have my most energy in the mornings. That's why I work out in the morning. But so I'm like an old man. You hit me about 3 o'clock in the afternoon. It's like, oh, they want me to call them back.
Right,
oh, the appointment. Can we do that tomorrow?
I
It's
can
like
see you waking
3
up out of your
o'clock,
bed.
man.
You're just
That's-
like, all right, it's 6 o'clock. All right, I got to get my
Yeah.
coffee. I'm gonna dump my
But
coffee.
I mean,
I got to get something.
but I
to eat.
mean,
I'm
if,
out the door.
You get up at 5, and it's like
Yeah, but I mean,
I can get a lot of work done in that first
you wake
hour and a
up-
half, 2 hours. of
You
people
wake
leaving
up
me
going
alone.
100 miles an hour. Is that not right?
No,
Oh,
like 95. It takes me an hour to get up to 110. And then by 3 p.m., I'm like 50.
crashing. It's that red line you got right there. That crack right there.
Yeah, that's right. Hey, it's legal.
Yeah, right. We also got Esmeralda Lucia. What's going on, Esmeralda, man? Were you out at the clubs too, girl? Where were you at last night?
Actually, yesterday I was at an event. It was a tequila.
That's better than a club. Just stop right there.
It was just only tequila, and that's all I remember. It was just tequila.
No,
and I just,
It was a function to donate for this tequila brand, and it was a lot of people, and it was nice.
yeah.
Free shots.
You donated your kidneys.
I didn't donate my kidneys.
Your liver. Sorry, your liver.
Your liver.
Wrong disease.
All right, man. We got Mr. Tony Gutierrez. He's a credit services analyst. What's going on, buddy?
Not much.
You don't tell me you were at the clubs last night too, man. Come on,
I
Tony.
was actually at the gym last night.
Yeah, oh, look at this guy.
Dude, are you kidding me? He was leading the party. That's a band leader at the club.
Hey,
man.
is there? Because you know the vibe, man. You go to the gym, and that's where people pick up on women now. It seems
What
like.
gym you
That's
go
what it
to?
is. Like if it depends on the gym, right?
Well, I went to EOS.
Oh, that's
down the
definitely
street.
a pickup spot right there for women.
Definitely.
I went with my fiance, so.
Oh, okay, maybe
Oh.
not. Did you?
Much
Don't
there.
leave her alone then.
It's when she wasn't looking. Hey, baby. No, just saying.
Dang.
So we got a lot of good information today. We're going to talk a lot about what's happening. All right, so let's get into it. Housing starts, right? housing starts are down. We know that the housing market here is starting to increase in homes. And Brett, we're going to, just a little bit, we're going to talk with Brett about that. And I think it's opening up doors. But there's a lot of data out there that supports that builders are really taking this steady as it goes because they figured this out. 2005 to 2008, they flooded the markets with new homes, lost a ton of money, their stocks dropped. And so now it's like, well, do we want to go put ourselves back in that same position? Also with the cost and the demand.
I think with just applying smart business sense, if you're a builder and if they're a national builder, they tend to be pretty decent at business or they wouldn't be national, right? Would be to say, hey, like you said, they learned from the last housing crash, and what happened before that was a housing boom.
Yeah.
And even though the circumstances behind the crash and those loans are completely different, just normal business sense would say, hey, homes have increased 25% in 1 year. I mean, I'm showing a house later this afternoon that was bought for $457,000 last year, and it's on the market for like $610,000, and that's like the market value of it now.
Yeah.
I think that builders applying common sense or not putting on the brakes, but just starting to be cautious of the fact that, hey, homes have gone up 25%.
What's the average sale for a new home right now?
Like 410. A new home?
New home is a lot more than that. I think it's like, what, 430?
Yeah, probably. I would say closer to 440, maybe 450 for a new home.
Yeah, when you look at the existing homes versus the new home sector, completely different worlds. How it's looked at and how things are going with those two. Well, go ahead.
Look at it this way of kind of what we were talking about last week or week before, which is, so even if that new home, because new homes are going to be more than resale.
Right.
So say you're buying the exact same home, square feet, kind of the same neighborhood, all that good stuff. But obviously you're paying more per square foot, more for the home. So say you're paying $50,000 more for the exact same home, but it's a new home. But with interest rates being so low, that $50,000 more is not the same as if you were actually paying, it was a normal interest rate. That $50,000 more for a new home would definitely impact your mortgage payment. But because interest rates are so cheap,
so what
you're washing itself out, basically, correct?
Yeah, go ahead, Rick.
Hey,
You can say something.
I got another question. How is the price working in relationship to the size, your square footage? So we all know, we all see it in the grocery market. You go into the store and whatever it is you're buying is stayed. The price has stayed the same, but the size of the package has gone down. They're giving you 3 ounces less.
Yeah.
What's
So
happening in the housing market?
Well, for the normal house, and you're not going to talk about luxury, $1 million. That's a different market. But like for a normal house, I think the average square foot right now is like $227 or $225 a square foot average. That's from houses built from 1950 to 1 year old.
I'm seeing that in Mountain's Edge.
But what size of houses are they building right now? So
they're building. I mean, they're building anywhere between. They're not that excessively large. I don't see too many communities that are doing 3,500, 4,000 or anything. That's very, very few communities. Most of them are between anything between single stories of 1,700 square feet to single story or 2 stories that are maybe 3,200 the biggest.
Well, look, it's their world right now, and I say that because there's not a lot of inventory on the market, and they're still increasing. But realistically, we need minimum 3 months, right? They're saying 6 months, 6.5 months.
Yeah.
I think if we got to that level, they would start to reevaluate things. And
We're
start
less
to get
than a month and a half.
Right, and that's the problem is builders are still dictating what's going to happen with their market or because people are looking for homes. Yes, there's 3,500 homes, 4,500. I think
45 with condos and townhouses.
Right, so that's still not enough homes on the market to change the way that builders are actually doing business right now. And is it strategic? And we talked about it. It is because they could definitely put out more homes on the market if they really wanted to. But I think they're because of costs and because of what happened in 2005 to 2008, they're slowly bringing this, and they're going to be steady. They're not going to be just, hey, we're going to now that things are back. A lot of this data too that we see is maybe false data a little bit. Where second part of 2020, maybe that data because of COVID and people are at home isn't reflecting what's happening in this market today. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I think the builders they have it like the world at their oyster right now. They have everything. There's not really a lot of competition. They can dictate what they're going to do and sell for the market.
Well,
lot premium.
So what do you think that they're going to do in the future, in the near future? So again, I'm back to the same example. Prices keep going up, and as we discussed before the show, the higher the price gets, the fewer people that can afford it. Okay, so let's say that you've got a 10-acre plot that Richmond American or whomever Pulte's going to develop, and you would normally put, let's say, somewhere around 40 to 50 homes on there. Well, if you put 60 to 80 homes on there and make them smaller and drive the price down so more people can afford it, is that an option? Are they thinking that way? Is what I'm trying to get at. Do you
I
think
haven't
they're
noticed
thinking
it.
that way?
I haven't noticed it.
You haven't noticed it?
As far as
Well, I don't know. I think it's an unhealthy market. I mean, the big thing here is we see the demands there. We see the prices keep going up, but there's not enough data or information.
So it's basically backed up by supply and demand. How's that unhealthy?
Because
That's
the
economics.
prices of homes and the scarcity of homes, we don't have enough homes on the market where that's going to continue to go
The
up.
average price of the home has gone up, including new homes, but I think there's a lot more of a buyer pool with a lot more money moving here than what's been here before. So that
You mean from how long though? Are you talking about 2 months from now? Are you talking about 6 months from now?
I don't know. I mean, I know that we're still a month and a half supply, and we should have 3.5, 4 months supply. So until that starts to get a little more balanced, I think by the end of the year, we'll start to see somewhat of a shift. And I was discussing with Dan earlier this week. When I say somewhat of a shift, I don't see a huge drop. I don't see anything crashing. I just think what I'm starting to notice myself now is, in a sense, exhaustion of some of the buyers, which we kind of spoke
Yes,
about
I
before,
agree.
which is the people who needed to buy and wanted to buy and were making a life shift and going to work remote and just had to move here for whatever reasons. I think they've already bought. And now you have a lot of people who they want to buy and they're going to buy, but they don't need to buy.
Right.
There's nothing where they need to buy it right now. They need to move here right now. They need to secure something right now. So I think those people are kind of putting on the brakes a little bit right now, just because I personally have had 3 or 4 buyers that were in pretty good price points who basically said, we're just going to chill out right now. Builders are out of their damn minds. And even though it's supported by whatever it is, it's the mentality that buyers have right now, which is I'm kind of just going to chill out. And they're not expecting it to crash, but they just don't want to deal with all the crap surrounding it.
There is
right
some
now.
consequence on the other side, though. Let's say you do wait. Prices keep going up, and that's why I say it's unhealthy, is that if you might be pushed out of the market even further, because now what if rates go up? Okay, now your payment's not as low. And then you're looking at, well, if I wait 6 months or a year, what if prices go up to $500,000 for the average median price?
So on one hand, I understand that based on kind of what's been happening. But on the other hand, common sense for me kicks in and says, we've already gone up 25%. Well, we're gonna go up another 25%? I mean, I'm not saying the world couldn't end tomorrow. Anything could happen. But to go up another 25%.
What do you
here's
see?
a better question is, what's going to happen with the interest rates? You tell me that.
Yeah.
What do you think is going to happen with that? Because if you tell me that in 6 months from now, we're going to be up another point and a half, I'm going to tell you that's, that's
yeah, but I don't know if that matters as much. I mean, look, you got mortgage applications are down, right, this last week. But because a lot of it was we were up 7 basis points on our rates, right, which is very small. Clients are sensitive, and that's what it is. So I don't know if rates are going to just completely push these buyers out. You go back, I've talked about this before. We got to 5%, and yes, it slowed the market, but it didn't push buyers out completely.
No, I'm not saying it's going to, but it's going to even things out a little bit more, or take at least a little bit of the pressure off of, I want to go buy a house and there's 15 offers and people are going 50 or 60 grand over.
What were you going to say, Esmeralda?
That's crazy.
So, in some of the research and some of the conversations I've had with my agents and lenders that I do business with.
Wait a second. You do business with other lenders besides me and agents?
And agents?
Yes, I do.
Dude, why is she on the...
Just like,
Go
Go ahead, Esmeralda.
Some of the conversations that we've had, so this is kind of what's I've seen in their world is that, yes, I agree with what you said, Brett, about the exhaustion with buyers, where they've been through this roller coaster that they don't even care. and that's scary.
I see them exhausted at a lot less of a level.
Yeah, and also where we're talking about interest rates, usually when that happens, if the interest rates go up, it's because they're trying to level out the market. And so I don't think it'll be both. It'll be one or the other.
Well, we don't see a drop though, and I think you look at the housing starts, and that's one of the things we're looking at. Could they be a lot higher? Sure. I don't know if builders in general want that. You look at, and we're comparing this because they lost a lot of money back in between 2005 and 8. I mean, they were flooding the market. They had probably more homes.
They made a lot and lost even more.
Well, they made a lot.
Well, they already made
But
money though. They made up and tripled that.
Yeah.
now.
Since then, yeah,
So
absolutely.
that's not an excuse.
So
no more.
since 2000, I don't know, like let's say 2008 or 9, they've been slowly they've been doing this where it's just a steady increase where they've kind of balanced it. And unfortunately, because we don't have more homes on the market, I'm not saying you have to go new home. The good thing is we have properties out there now. There wasn't much, say, but we're over a month's supply.
New home builders wouldn't have nearly the leverage they have right now if more resales were on the market.
100%.
But
when is that?
that's-
So the question is, we've talked about when that's going to change or what could help that. Now, what do you think, Brett, in your mind, would change that where we would start to see this increase significantly? Because I don't think rates is the only thing. I don't think raising rates is like, okay, now
what's going to cause more homes to come on the market?
Well, what's going to help
People
that?
listing their house.
Okay.
I mean, what's going to make that? I think the more that people kind of get used to the new norm, whether it's this back and forth with COVID or whatever it is, I mean, I don't think people are letting it impact them or businesses like they did a year ago. Because it was like, okay, mask off, and then now it's mask back on and all that stuff. But I don't think it's having an impact like it did before. So I think people are starting to get used to the new normal. And I think, it's hard to say because I don't know how many people were not listing their home because they were scared of what's going to happen with the market or their job or whatever it is. So I think that fear may be gone, but I don't. So what, you're going to sell to turn around and buy into that same market now?
I think that there's a lot more homes coming on the market than we realize. And so from personal experience, what's happened in our office is we'll get an owner. I mean, we've got owners, they're not standing in line, don't get me wrong. But comparatively speaking to 2 years ago, they're standing in line to sell their houses. And we don't even get a chance to put them on the market where there's no need. We can make a couple of phone calls and boom, they're already snatched up. So is the market actually increasing? I think that what we see in the MLS statistics doesn't tell us really the full picture. I think there's a lot of properties that come on the market that never hit the MLS.
It'd be interesting to find out, is there any way we can find out what that is?
Well, I don't know.
Because you do have a point. I don't think it's that much of an impact, but I would like to see the statistic on it.
Yeah, I think that, of course, it does make a small impact, but the point or the conversation had to go was around whether or not housing market is expanding and how people are thinking about it. And from what I see, the owners that we deal with, they're all thinking about selling. We get so many calls every day from tenants saying, I need to move because my owner's selling. I need to move because my owner's selling. And you're not seeing that being reflected in the MLS figures. So that just tells me that they're getting snatched up so fast that they don't even get there.
Yeah, so I guess what would sustain a healthier market, where we have more inventory? I guess in your eyes, Rick, like what would you see, or what would, because you've had probably more experience than us, have you seen markets like this where we needed to get more inventory on the market, we needed to have more months supply?
Actually, I did see it, but it was when I was really young, and that was back in the around 1978 when the market, at least in where I was in California, just went nuts.
Yeah.
And I wasn't cognitive enough as to understand what exactly was going on because I was in my early 20s and I just started in real estate.
Sure. Yeah.
But I think we're kind of like that when interest rates then turned around and went up to 18%. And that's when I tried to start my mortgage business. Oh. and actually it wasn't bad thinking. I just went in a few months too early because I figured if I could start it when it was 18, it had to turn around. And everybody that I knew that was in the mortgage industry, that was able to survive it when it did turn around. They just went nuts.
Absolutely.
With loans.
Yeah, I mean, our rates are low, and I think the hypersensitive people out there that look at rates and they look at what's going on. I mean, yeah, it's important, but I mean, we're still at record lows, and people just don't realize it. I mean, it goes up 3.25%, 3.5%.
That's
They're like,
what I'm
oh
saying.
my
Is
gosh,
we're
man.
so low that even going up a little bit's not gonna.
It doesn't make a difference. Now,
Yeah.
here's where it makes a difference. So if the prices keep going up, that 1/8 of a point starts to make a difference now, because now your payment has a significant amount, not a huge difference, but you know, when you start getting into that $500,000, $600,000, $700,000 range, an 1/8 of a point does make a little bit of an impact. Now, is it life changing? No. But still, I think it does make an impact on what's going to happen, and also maybe your decision making. A lot of people don't want to be mortgage broke. You know, a lot of people don't know if now's a good time to do it. They feel like, well, you know, am I going to miss the opportunity? I got people buying second homes, investment homes. They want to buy because they feel that the properties are going to keep increasing, and there's nothing showing that it's going to stabilize. And what I mean by stabilize is we have a healthy market where we have a 6-month supply. There's more existing homes on the market, and then there's more to choose from. And it's not like you're just pushed into a specific situation that you don't want to
Statistically
be.
speaking, we're a long ways away from that.
I don't know if we're a long ways away. What about you, Tony? What do you think, man? Do
You
think,
said 6 months. We're a month and a half. We're gaining what, 500 homes a week?
I don't know.
You do the numbers.
Yeah, but think about it like this. Just like Mr. Rick said. I mean, Rick said, yeah, you got these people that own these homes that are leasing these homes, but they're sold quickly, right? I mean, do they ever hit the MLS? Barely.
Yeah,
maybe?
so it still sounds like a seller's market to me, huh?
Right.
Yeah, it's a really strong.
So
seller's
there you
market.
go.
Yeah, I mean, and so what I'm saying though is the inventory, not the price. Is the inventory going to increase? And that's what about you?
I don't think the inventory is going to increase realistically.
Why?
There's there's more people buying homes. There's, like you said, there's more people moving into the city, which makes more people want to buy homes.
Still 10 buyers for one home.
And I've also seen, like he said, I have clients that say, hey, I need to build my credit, I need to fix my credit fast, only because the person who owns the house, it's either told me I have 2-3 months to either buy the house or they're kicking me out. So there's a lot of people living in those rentals that are getting ready to buy those rentals.
Well, I've seen that there's a sweet spot of buyers that's going to come into this market. I've been reading some information that between 2020 to 2024, we're going to see a lot more homes potentially come on the market, and then it's going to be
What year?
Between 2020 and 2024, and there's going to be a lot more buyers too, just like you said, coming in the market, because there's demographics that people look at, and there's a lot of data. And
I mean, if you're going to go 3 years out,
well, I mean, look at
yeah, I'm sure more homes will
2022.
come on the market next 3 years.
2022. I think the end of this year in 2022, we're going to start to see an influx of properties. We're starting to see it now. It's a very slow trickle of properties coming on the market, but I'm not going to say it's thousands at a time. But as this thing, I mean, look, as the COVID goes, so does the economy, I think, in the market a little bit. So maybe things are going to get to normal to a point, maybe into this year, early next year.
I think we can all agree it's uncharted territory in so many different things right now. So we're kind of out here all making not assumptions, but just our own personal opinions based on our own experience. But who knows, man? I mean, I'll be the first to be like, I could be completely wrong.
Yeah, Rick,
you know, I don't think I am right now.
I think it's going to be a long time.
You do?
Yeah, I really do, because what Tony just said is that buyers are increasing. Okay, well, if buyers are increasing, that just means that demand is going up, which means prices are going to go up. And the people that are selling now are the people that have been holding for a long time. They've owned for a long time. At least that's in my area. So they're looking to cash out, but it's going to be a slow trickle of increase, just like Brett's saying. It's going to be a slow trickle of the available properties expanding. But on the buyer side, I think that there's going to be a larger demand coming in, at least to Las Vegas, simply because of the way we continue to grow. So at least in Vegas, I don't think it's going to change much in the near future.
Also, as prices start going up, it keeps bumping people that live in Vegas that could only afford a $300,000 home. Prices are going up, so it's bumping people out of the market.
So is it going to be it's going to make people really stay where they're at to a point, right? And if obviously the average, we talk about this a lot, but the average person living in Las Vegas that's been here in Las Vegas, right? That's making, anywhere from 50,000 to 100,000. They're not going to be able to buy a single family residence home, let's say in a year or two. So where does that lead us, right? Where does that head us? Where do we go from there? Esmeralda, you got anything to say on that?
I heard an interesting story, and I just was thinking about that about Rick. So some of my agents said that they were looking for rentals, and the rentals that were available, they didn't even have wash and dryers, but they're renting them out to the tenant. So not only are you renting and you're already paying over, now you're leasing washers and dryers. And I just was like, oh my God, that's crazy. So have you heard this? Is this normal?
I haven't seen that, but I don't think necessarily that it's the owners that are pushing this. It's
the property management?
It's not the property management. It's the companies that own the washers and the dryers. So I'm assuming that they're putting in coin operated or something similar, the same type of thing.
No, you pay them
additional?
like $25 or $30.
Just because there's a washer and dryer in there.
Okay. So you're leasing them out, like.
Kind of, sort of, yeah.
I was like, I've never heard of that. I was like, that's crazy. So I don't know.
It's the same thing. It's the same thing in property management as far as when you sign your management agreement. If you don't look it over and you're looking at one property that's renting for $2,000 a month, and you're looking at another one that's only renting for $1,800 a month, and they're exactly the same. But guess what? This looks so much better, but now they're leasing out the washer and the dryer for $100 a month, and they're charging you to use the garage, and they're charging for this, and they're charging for that. And if you add it all up, it's $2,100 a month. It's actually more. But if you look at the rental price that's being advertised, it's $200 less. Wow. Everybody floods over to this one. They get it leased up quick. Boom.
Well, here's what I can say. I think builders, I don't know if they're contributing to the problem, but think about it like this. What if you had more new homes to choose from? What if you had properties where, if you say there's 10 buyers for every home, that's what you said. Well, what if they put out more lots and now there's 5 buyers for every home? Doesn't that help the inventory a little bit? Because now the rate that people are coming in to buy these homes is starting to expand a little bit. And I think that's what we're looking at. So they're looking at it from a profit standpoint. The builders are making all the money. They're transferring the cost to the buyer. They're not really giving incentives as they used to, right? They're not. Yep. And they're not giving commissions to realtors. They're in it. And also they're also going in where they're really, as far as the hedge fund investors, they're starting to buy into that, right? Where they're going to be co-owners. Yeah. And it's like business arrangement,
like BlackRock. Right? What they're going to do is, so back in 2012, 2013, primarily the end of 2012, they came through to like Phoenix, Miami, Vegas, LA, all the major cities that were hugely down in the housing crisis. And they bought up thousands, like 3,000 here in Vegas, 4,000 in Phoenix, 3,500 in Miami, blah, blah, all over. And they took those and they basically rented all of them out with tenants.
They're business partners, is what I'm saying, and that's where I'm going with it.
So they created invitation homes. So what I'm saying for a reason is, for the first time ever, basically, hedge funds got involved into real estate back during the short sales.
Yes.
They were able to be successful at it and develop a business plan for their portfolio to be involved in real estate now. So now they're applying that same theory with going to builders like Pulte or D.R. Horton and going right to Pulte Homes and saying, we want to buy 2,000 brand new homes from you. So think about being a national builder and you have 2,000 new homes sold before you even have to do anything.
So here's the question.
And what they're going to do is rent out with the condition that Invitation comes home, Blackstone comes in, BlackRock comes in and buys 2,000 directly from Pulte, but all these homes are going to be single-family residents, but they're going to rent all of them out. It's just going to be strictly rental communities. So brand new residential community, but all just all rentals.
So when is it going to be to a point, though, where you see all these these happening with these new homes, and they're capitalizing on the market, they're capitalizing on the cost because they're passing it to the consumer. Now they're being business partners with these hedge fund investors and these big investors coming in. At some point, it's like, well, they're in it just to make a profit. They don't care anything about you as a consumer or anything. Really, I don't feel that they do. And they're just the builders. All they're looking at is pure profit, and that's it. Because if you look at where the housing market is at, I think it's in contribution to the fact that it contributes to that we don't have enough homes because they're strategically putting this together to make as much profit as they can. Like you said, lot premiums are at their all-time
Well,
highs. They're not
taking
paying
consideration
commissions.
as well that, I mean, at the end of the day, they also learned, too, from the first housing crash.
Yeah, but they're
which
also
was overextending themselves.
So when does a buyer, though, stop and say, you know what? I'm just not going to do it. I can't pay that premium that's being passed to me, or I'm not gonna follow the game of what these people are doing or these builders are doing.
Let me give you an instance. Got an email from a builder, Pulte, actually, and it was a new community that my buyers have had a reservation for the waiting list. Not even a reservation for the lot, a reservation for the waiting list. That was almost 3 months ago. The builder is just now getting to releasing that lot. In that time, they sent an email, and it was a mass email they sent to all the agents that had buyers, which was basically, oh, hey, by the way, we've increased it. I think it was like 20 or 20. No, they increased it like 50 grand for what it was before and said, by the way, now we have 200 people that are on this waiting list. But they know that because they're increasing it, because of this and that costs more, that they straight up said in the email, get a hold of us right away because out of the 200, it's going to drop down to probably 75. And then, so there's going to be over half of them that say that. It's too expensive now.
Yeah,
or
but
I'm not going to pay that premium, or I'm not going to pay.
Yeah, but buyers just seem like they don't care because they're fear of missing out.
Because there's still enough buyers. Well,
that's the problem. They feel that they're missing out. So you know what? I'm not going to look at it and go, well, I'm going to sit and wait and see if it starts to come down. They're going to say, well, I feel like I'm missing out. So I'm going to pay whatever the builder's telling me I should pay and the premiums.
But so that's the thing. You said, well, how many people are going to say are getting priced out or can't do the premiums or whatever? That's the other side of the coin, which is say you have 200 interested, half of them are going to say it is too expensive. I can't do the premium. But then you've got still 100 that can.
Yeah, but it seems like people are coming in this market.
That's a ton.
Maybe you guys can correct me. They're coming in the market to figure out how they can get into a home versus does it make sense to get into a home, right?
They're just coming in to figure out how to get into a home. Correct.
That's a different mindset because there's scarcity and you don't have a lot of opportunities or you don't have variety, right? There's not a lot of existing homes. A lot of people are pushed into buying a new home. So now it's like, well, I just got to figure out any way possible that I can get into this house. Oh, it's $450. Let's bring everybody on the loan. Let's bring everybody I can to get approved because now there's nothing left.
And I've seen that happen a lot. I've seen that actually with clients. They ask for money. They don't have the whole money for the down payment and the reserves. So they start asking family members.
Yes.
So now the realtor, the loan officer, have to figure out how to make the money or put it on where the money came from. So
is it a lot of times though that these buyers are going in where they're thinking, well, I'm going to be mortgage broke, is it? And we're saying this because look, we're not against builders completely, but I feel that they're contributing to what's happening.
I think you're looking at it. Go ahead. So that's one angle. The other angle is what's their alternative? And I'm just telling you this because this is their mindset.
Who's alternative?
The buyers. So they're going to say, okay, we're going to bring in other people for gift money. And you're saying, well, are they going to be mortgage broke? Well, what's the alternative?
If you're a Las
to get
Vegas,
what they want to rent that out, they're going to be paying higher in rent.
Correct.
What's your alternative?
But if you're Las Vegas, right? You live here, right?
Yeah.
And you're saying, you know what? I'm a renter for 10 years. Now I might not even have the opportunity to buy a house because now I got to add a few people onto this loan, or maybe add one or two, or maybe I just don't make enough money now. Let alone a new home. You might just be pushed out altogether.
So that's why people are starting to combine their sources together, like he was saying.
But that's not that to me is not a healthy market.
Okay, so what's the alternative? Is what I'm saying is their frame of mind. I understand that, but their frame of mind also is. So what's my alternative to get that kind of house, the 4-bedroom, whatever it is I need for the space, or in this whatever it is, to rent is going to be more expensive than it is for the mortgage payment on that.
What do you think?
So
about it.
That's
I'm gonna talk to Esmeralda.
So let's talk about the builder side. So the builder side, where they say that you feel they're doing it on purpose, I disagree with that.
It's not on purpose. They're doing it to maximize the amount of dollars that they make. So they are, in a sense, doing it as a business. Everybody's going to run their businesses big, get the most profit that they can. But is it contributing? Because they can start more homes, right? And if we went through a pandemic
What do you mean they can?
Good.
Well, let's start right there
Yeah.
because I kind of agree with her. Like, what do you mean you can
Well,
start more homes?
I feel that they're putting out. You've talked about this before. Only 3 to 5 lots in some of these places. Couldn't
But-
they put out 20 lots?
Well, let me speak on that a little bit. So, some of the issues behind the scenes that we don't realize that are happening with builders is finding actual land, right? That they can actually build, because there's a war between builders, right? So,
Yeah, but a lot of this land isn't it already bought?
no, it's
No,
not. No,
it's
it's
not.
not. A lot,
I mean,
there's a
when
lot
they're
of
starting-
people that own land that they don't. They're holding
No, I'm saying
on.
when these builders
absolutely.
are building properties though, isn't they can't start foundation and you start the whole process unless that land was already purchased and the permits were usually pulled, right?
But another issue is finding people to build the homes is a big problem right
Mm-hmm.
now. So them finding the workers to actually build is a problem because there's a lot of projects out and there's not enough
Workers.
workers to get to, because they're not paying them what they used to, because they feel like a lot of them are doing side contracts.
So there's another thing I'm telling you. They're not paying them what they used to. What does that mean?
Well, there's a lot of side contractors that what they do is they pay them based on hour versus whatever that compensation plan was in the past. So what they do is like they give them an amount of time and they do what they need to do. And if it doesn't make sense, they just don't complete that project. So if it's
See,
not
and
appealing
that's-
to them, then they
that's
don't
the-
take it and they move on to the one that is. And so that's another problem we're having. So it's not necessarily like there's this conspiracy of, hey, these builders not doing, they're only building 3 because of whatever. No, there's a lot more behind the scenes that is challenging. One is pricing on material. 2 is these workers that were compensated a certain way, and now they were pushed out because of whatever. And now they know and they leverage that because they're like, okay, well, my trade, you can't mimic that. There's not
Yeah.
enough people doing my trade, so I'm going to pick the projects I want.
So the data that's come out though, that they've said, okay, we're not going to go through the same process of losing money like we did in the mid 2000s.
Well-
they're going to try to maximize every opportunity, and I think they're learning from that. And I think that's why I'm saying this is a strategic process. This is not like, well, like we're going to just
So, yes, they learned from the last housing crash, so they're being business smart in that sense. They're being conscious of things, don't get me wrong. But at the same point, I mean, not only all the details that she's saying, but even from a macro perspective, how quick do you think that you can just take a lot of land and develop it? And put in sewer,
Well, if you
and
look-
develop
if
it
you
off
look
in,
at the past, if you look at the 2000s,
how
it was
long do you
quick.
think that takes from beginning to end to develop the land to be able to
long
make it?
time.
Yes.
Well, KB Homes
So
was
it just doesn't happen.
KB Homes was building houses in 30 days.
But that's when the land's been developed. So I'm talking about coming in and selling off like say 200 acres.
Yeah, because
and we're gonna have 4 or 5 builders in there. And you got to come through and do the roads first. And then you got to divide them up into subdivisions. And then you've got to have main sewers coming in. You've got to do, all these things.
I'm going to tell you what I think
So-
is going to be the problem. This is my perception, and this is just me. What I'm seeing happen, and I think this is going to be a problem, is that we're seeing homes that are being built by builders. So you're seeing these homes that they're custom homes in certain areas that are worth over $1 million. And then builders are coming in and building little Mickey Mouse homes behind that community, which is going to tank the $1 million home. So we're not seeing that take effect, but that's going to have a problem. It's gonna affect it in some sense.
Are you saying builders building poor homes? Is that what you're saying?
Not poor homes, but smaller communities that will impact the custom homes with bigger lots, because they're all like they're townhomes now. They're different communities, and they're all bunched up in the same communities.
But that's
Yeah,
always
so-
been a question. That's always been a question. Do the smaller homes pull down the price of the luxury home, or depending again,
It can, how it's
or
laid
is
out.
the luxury home helping because of
That's what I was going to
are
say.
they pulling up the prices
Yeah.
of the townhomes?
I
That's
mean,
always been a question.
personally, so I come from Madison, Wisconsin. And back
Wait a
then,
second. You come from Madison, Wisconsin?
Yeah.
Okay.
You betcha.
Madison?
You
Or is it
betcha.
Madison?
Madison.
He's always repping Madison, Wisconsin.
You betcha. You betcha, eh? You betcha.
Okie dokie.
Okie dokie on with some cheese and beer, eh? The Packers, eh? Anyways, now I forgot what I was going to say. Oh, so back there, I sold real estate there before out here. And I know back there, you can't put like really expensive homes next to ones that aren't super expensive homes. Like if you did it there, you won't get away with selling the nicer homes. Out here, I've noticed pretty much anywhere, which always amazed me about Las Vegas, is you can literally have a bunch of not so great homes, and then all of a sudden you've got like a $2.1 million mansion. That was like an old horse ranch or something like that. Some guy came in and put up some custom. And I always thought, well, if you're going to do a custom and all that stuff, it's next to here, but it never seems to really affect that expensive home.
Well, look, you look at Beazer.
At least in Vegas.
Beazer came out in the news. I'm not going to throw names out, but I just did. So they came out and they had people complaining about a lot of the stuff that was being built with these homes, and saying that some of the things that were promised and also how they were being built, they were upset. They weren't getting things completed.
That's certain builders, man. Yeah, I mean,
Well, there's always going to be my parents own a custom house. Okay, so they own a custom house, 2.5 acres. And
they want to sell? I know a good agent. Sorry,
no, they're not going to sell. But
sorry, had to rep.
So, and there is homes, that were built around my parents' home, custom homes, and there's nice homes and there's smaller homes and all that kind of stuff. But there was a big thing that happened when they were trying to develop the homes, and all these owners did go back to this, they did go and complain, and it was like they couldn't get the rest of the projects completed until this was settled. And so yes, there is people that will complain, and they will go in and they will try to protect whatever they feel like.
If you're building in these older neighborhoods, yeah,
Well, look, but it comes down to that if you're paying a premium for a home, especially in today's market, should you have homes like that? Like if I'm a buyer out there and I'm sitting here going, okay, do I really want to buy in this market? Just like you said, Brett, but if I do buy, man, I better get everything. It doesn't have to be the Taj Mahal, but it's got to be nice, right? It's got to be, I have to have my stuff in place. And I'm just saying that a lot of these builders seem like they're trying to cut corners and that there's been issues with that. And they're still driving the price in the market like no tomorrow.
That's always been builders.
It's always been.
Yeah, but I mean, here's the difference. We're
We're
starting.
like, yeah, what else
So
is
you're
new?
saying buy resale versus new?
No, because resales were all new at one point by those builders. Now they're just older.
What I'm saying though is that it's probably showing itself a little bit more because a lot of people are forced to go to new homes, right? Maybe the average buyer before, if you had a 5 or 6 month supply, you had a chance to get an existing home. Now it's like, well, you know what? I wasn't going to buy an existing or a new home, but I didn't have a choice. So you know what? Might be my first time buying a new home.
That's part of why new home sales are so up so much, because there's no resales. People generally, unless they specifically want to have a new home, will take resale. But there's
more bang for your buck, right?
Yeah, and there's nothing out there, so they're forced to move to new homes.
So now the expectation maybe is there because people are like, you know what? This is not a customary thing I'm dealing with that I know about. If I'm buying new, if I go buy a new car and I go home and there's a big scratch on the side, right? Or there's a scratch in the leather.
It means you piss someone off
I'm
in
taking
traffic.
that thing right back. I'm saying, you need to fix this. You know what I mean? Like this needs to be done. But now my mindset is, hey, you know what? I won't go there. I might not go there for my next car, right? Or does this normally happen where there's a car being sold like that or a house being sold?
Well, if it was a brand new house they bought from the builder and they feel the builder didn't do a good job, of course they're probably not going to go there again.
Right.
Yeah,
but now it's getting out to being in the news, and now it's getting out and you seeing all this data. What about you over there, Tony? What do you think about this situation?
I was thinking about something else. I was thinking about how the builders are taking advantage of the people. I feel like if they're able to put more houses out on the market.
100% they're taking advantage of them.
They're not doing it because they know the more houses that go out on the market, the prices start dropping only because we have bigger inventory now.
I've seen prices drop though.
But not as much. I mean, they drop, but then they go back up. That's really what I've seen happen. Prices they're not going down, period. I mean, they're going down, but
I haven't seen any prices drop in new homes.
I don't know about new homes, but I've seen on resale.
I've seen
a lot of
I think we were talking earlier this week what I've noticed for resale, which is the homes that have everything that you want, right? You got the pool, you've got the 4-bed, whatever it is. The homes that are really nice homes in really good condition, have the space and all that stuff, those homes are continuously getting multiple offers. But the difference before, which is the spring and the beginning of the summer, it was your home didn't even need to be that great. and it was still getting multiple offers, like it was great. You know what I mean? Like, so now you've got, say, a certain number of homes between 500,000 and 600,000. Well, the house that's always like the best house in the neighborhood that has everything everybody wants in really good condition, that's always going to sell no matter what market you're in, right? It's relative to the market. So those are still receiving multiple offers. But what I have seen that don't receive necessarily multiple offers and are taking 3 or 4 weeks to sell and maybe not full price are all the other ones in that same price point that don't have everything. So before, whether it was just a regular house in that price point or an amazing house in that price point, they were all getting multiple offers. Now, the ones that are just regulars aren't getting the multiple offers anymore.
Well, I think a lot of people are compulsive buying. It's like you go to the store, you compulsive buy a home.
Yeah, so that's starting to lay off some.
And that's starting to lay off. But I still feel, I think you got to look at these things at all angles. It can't just be, well, I'm just going to jump in because that's what everybody else is doing. It doesn't make sense. Could you get more of a home on an existing home versus a new home? I'm not saying just stay away from new homes. I'm not saying they're bad people or they're bad companies, but let's be honest.
Shame on them.
Yeah, well,
making money.
Yeah, and making it hand over fist, Brett.
Well, they're not.
Okay.
I mean, I should say. So now you're arguing against capitalism?
Yeah.
Because that's how capitalism works, dude.
What I'm saying is
Leverage.
It's fine. But you also, as a consumer out there, I think you need to open up your horizons a little bit on what you're doing, right? It can't just be, you got to think of all angles. You got to think, does it make sense? And is this path, where am I at in this position? Does it make sense to go buy a new home? Or is it, am I going to get more money for existing home? Should I wait for an existing home that I want versus I'm going to jump in the rat race and buy a new home just because I'm going to get a lot. I'm coming from a different state or somewhere else. It doesn't mean don't go buy a new home, but really do your research and do your homework.
I think that type of buyer is starting to increase more, but I think we're still a long ways off before we catch up.
Right now, I don't think so, only because everybody wants to get a house.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. We still got,
wants to get a house. So
everybody's trying to figure out how to get a house. Now, I feel that the competition set part of it, it's like, well, I don't have to compete against anybody by going to a new home, but you actually do.
You have to compete more.
That's right. Because there's a misconception of that. It's like, hey, you know what? I'm going to just go buy a new home and I'm going to get a lot. Sometimes you're 20, right?
Or look at it this way. Okay, I go write an offer on a $500,000 house and I'm going against 20 offers and now I'm paying $550. Well, at least you find that out right away. A freaking new home, you got to be on a waiting list, wait 2 or 3 months for them to come back and be like, oh, by the way, now you're going against 200 people and it's $100,000 more. I mean,
Rick,
pull me out of my misery right away.
Right.
You know?
Listening to everything that's going on here, I just, at least in my mind, realized that probably one of our greatest indicators is not necessarily how many new homes are being built or how many homes are on the market, but in actuality, what the builders are doing with the new homes that they have. So as an example, all the incentives are off and this and that and all that other stuff is in place. Well, they're not stupid. They know that they can get this. And as the demand goes down, they're going to start giving incentives. They're going to start doing this stuff.
Come back.
And it's going to come back. And that's going to be your first indication.
Yep.
Because they've got their thumb on everything that's going on. And so, and there's other things that are driving the prices up. Like Izzy said earlier, one of the things that's difficult right now is getting raw materials. If you don't think that's not playing a part, it is. Wood, chemicals, cement.
It went up 25%.
All of that
guys.
stuff.
25%.
Trucking is impacted right now. They can't get the stuff in. And so that could also be a contributing factor as to why they're not building as quickly. Okay? It's a long process. And any one of these things that hiccups screws up everything. So that's just something else to keep in mind.
100%. It goes back to this, though. We'll just kind of leave it, and we'll go to a different topic. We're going to talk to you here on property management and talk to Brett about an update. But the average buyer out there that's living in Las Vegas, the average person that's actually looking at this going, can I actually afford a home? Is there going to be a point where it's going to be so far out that they're not going to be able to buy, which I think we're starting to see that now? Or is it going to be, hey, we're going to start to see a flood of properties come on the market? Which one you think is going to come first? Where we're going to see more inventory, or you're going to see the average buyer pushed out of the market?
I think there's going to be more inventory, only because houses should start coming down in the nets. I mean, usually when summer comes, most people buy houses in, right? And then when winter comes, less and less people start buying houses. Also, unemployment's about to end. There's a line of 70 people, I think, or no, 72 days. It's what the wait time is to be able to collect unemployment. So unemployment's about to end. There's gonna start being more people looking for homes, and
Yeah, but are they going to have the ability to buy a home? Basically, because like I said, is the market going to be dictating that the average Las Vegan or the average person out there making $50,000 to $100,000,
So-
are they going to be able to afford a house?
Maybe just go ahead. I'm sorry.
I think it's I don't. I kind of disagree with the side that Tony's on, and I think that more people are going to be pushed out of the market for a couple.
I agree.
For a couple of reasons that you've brought up. One is, and I don't mean to get political, but there are a lot of people leaving a lot of large cities that
Yep.
are disagreeing with what's going on,
Yep.
and they're moving to places that are typically more affordable in comparison, and they can afford to buy whatever it is they want, or at the very least help keep our prices here up. And so consequently, other people, again, they're going to get priced out, and that's simply because of the influx of people from all over the country that have the money and the means. A perfect example is New York, where the mayor had been begging people not to move out, and those people have money and they're buying wherever they land. And it's the same thing as what people are moving in here.
Look at the hedge funds. Just watch where hedge fund money goes. They're going directly to builders and buying how many thousands of homes directly from them to do what? Rent them out. Because if you feel that the housing market's going to be unaffordable for a lot of people now coming up and it's going to stay that way, what would be a good move? Buy a bunch of rentals.
What do you think, Esmeralda?
I'm just saying.
just,
She's taking my phone.
she's like, I got.
I'm getting back to this guy.
No,
She's like, I'm just-
He's a match on Tinder.
I think if you're gonna buy rentals, I don't think it's a bad idea. I mean, if there's only 1,000 homes in the market and you have the opportunity to buy, maybe I wouldn't buy an expensive home. I would buy probably like a 300,000, 350 maybe.
Yeah, but
that
what's
range?
out there at that price point? Like, is there anything decent at
Cash
300,000?
buyers over list price. That's what's out there at that price point.
Yeah, but have you looked for a home recently at 300,000, 350?
Well, that's not my palette.
That's not your-
Oh, look at you. Those are mine.
Yeah,
No,
her palate. Her
I'm
palate.
just kidding.
Hey, her palate's whiskey, right? It's like-
No, not
tequila.
palette.
The ridges.
The tequila.
Mesa Ridge. No, no. I would love to buy a home at 350 if it was nice and it was everything
Yeah.
I needed. I'm not saying that I wouldn't buy one if it makes sense and it looks good. Yeah. Or it had potential for me to make it look nice, right? It's the layout's nice.
but if you're buying it for a rental, does it really matter?
Yes, because you want it to be appealing to somebody. You know, you want it to be decent. I mean,
Well, at one point or another, people need a rent, so they're going to find. I mean,
you make it decent. I mean, you don't make it like, hey, this is like.
If I could have 350 house in a bad area or 350 house in a good neighborhood, I'd pick it in a good neighborhood.
No,
Just because the
and
market
all day
now is going to
long.
increase
It's-
more. Yeah.
It's about location.
Yeah.
Location is real estate.
But it doesn't, too bad.
yeah.
Too bad the 350 house in the bad neighborhood is not 350 in the good neighborhood.
Yeah.
First
like
of all,
450.
Tony, believe it or not, the tenants want the same thing that the owners do that are buying new homes. They want a nice place to live.
Yeah.
All right, they're same as everybody else. What will change, and possibly it's already happening, is the same thing that happened when the market crashed. Instead of people combining together and giving money and trying to buy a place that's out of their price range, they're going to move in together. So
Right.
they're going to find a nice place and family, and the family's going to move in together in order to get the nicer place and still be able to afford it.
You know what would be an ideal thing is like homes that used to have casitas, like but not attached to the home,
Right.
but they were like in the backyard or like on the side,
Yeah.
but they were like separate. Like
Yeah.
those are ideal.
I
opportunities.
think those kind of went away like what in like the
There's
early
not a lot of
2000s.
them, but it's a great
Something?
idea for it,
For a rental.
Yeah,
Yes.
for so many different things. That's a great idea. But yeah, there's hardly anything with casitas.
Yeah. But back in the days, like you would have a casita and it had like it was next to the pool and it was separate and
Is that how you do it, Brett? Is that how you do it, low riding?
So, Brett,
What did you ask me?
back here.
I'm low riding this mic. What's up, man? Not gonna catch me miking dirty. Gonna catch me miking.
All right, so we got our opinions on it. I think we got mixed reviews on this whole thing with the new homes. There's less home starts, more permits, but it just seems like the builders are strategically doing this thing. So we're going to kind of go into a different direction here. Talk with Mr. Rick Raines. Rick, what's happening in the rental sector? And also, how do you pick a good person, or not a person, but a good company to choose, let's say, for property management?
Boy, so right now we're talking to the owners, from an owner's perspective or from a tenant's perspective?
I would say let's start with the tenant's perspective first. I think everybody wants to know that part first.
Boy, the only thing that I can say on that is that you need to do a little bit of research, make sure that check the reviews online. Obviously, if you know someone who's been renting from a particular property manager, get their feedback as to how they've been treated.
What do you think the average rents are right now across the board, would you say?
Average rents are probably somewhere in the vicinity of 1,500 to 1,600 average.
Okay, and how big of a home do you think you'll be able to get on that?
Not real big.
One bedroom, two bedroom, three bedroom?
Yeah, 2 to 3. Some 2 bedrooms are going for that much. So yeah, 3 bedroom if you're lucky. If you go much 4 bedroom that's even fairly new, you're going up over 2,000. So
yeah. So like as somebody out there that's looking to rent a property, let's say you're renting from one place to another place. It's scarce, slim pickings, right? And
slim pickings.
Yeah. And so what do you do? Like, how do you get your maybe get that foot in the door ahead of somebody else? Is there real competition like there is in the housing market where they're outbidding each other?
They're not outbidding each other, but you cannot wait 1 second. I mean, if you find a place that just came on the market, and I'm not joking, if you wait an hour to go see it or to get an application in, you're already behind.
Submit the application, then go see it.
Pretty much.
I mean, seriously.
No, it's really
Good idea.
it's really close to that. So
it's like
most property management companies, at least for mine, we're not going to rent to you unless you have seen it.
Yeah.
That doesn't prevent you from putting in an application right away.
Yeah, it's like you go to the housing market. It's like hours on the market, right? Remember how it was like,
Yeah.
well, you got so many days. You don't got that. You don't have that opportunity for renting. Yeah. So, what other things can renters look towards? Like as far as, okay, I can submit my application to get into this house. What other tactics or things that maybe would help or will promote them to get into that house if there's somebody out there that's looking to rent here in Las Vegas? You think?
Well, number one, you got to remember. Well, first of all, when you fill out your application, fill it out completely. You would be surprised at how many people leave 25% of it blank, thinking that the property manager is going to, quote, understand. And
Something people don't like in financing. I understand.
Yeah, right.
No, dude, I need
we need to see it. But it happens so frequently.
God, that's funny.
It's really
So
it's
a
really
detailed
thing.
application.
Detailed application.
All right.
And that's number one. And number two is make sure that you don't fudge anything. You know, everybody has problems. Everybody has situations. We get it. We understand. And if you try to hide something or fudge something, and we find out, that's your
Doesn't look good,
It
Smalls.
doesn't look good. Your application is going to get set to the side. It's that simple. So it's for a lot of people it's difficult, but that's what you got to do, and you have to remember. And I apologize to some listeners out there, but if you have problems on your application, there isn't anybody who made it that way other than yourself.
Right.
So you got to take responsibility.
Listen, you're trying to make people take responsibility.
Yeah, I'm trying to.
What are you doing?
I don't know, man. It's the world has changed.
That's asking a lot.
That's asking a lot. I know.
Well, I'm going to say this. I think a lot of it too is that everything's at your fingertips and it's convenient. And I think as we keep going, one is that there's less things that you have to worry about. Like for instance, if you go do things online, it's easier. life is easier overall. And I feel that people just want to kind of get through it because things are just so easy now and everything's at your fingertips instead of just taking the time. And I don't know if it's just the I don't know, you can't say it's like, some type of generational thing, but right? I don't know what it is, but
Well,
I think
it's made to be simple, though.
I'm willing to go there.
Here's part
It's a
of the,
generational thing.
here's part of the problem is that unfortunately our
Lights
society is changing to be instant gratification, and that is not a good place to be. So the same thing with whatever it is that you're doing, if you can stem away or turn away in your mind and your activities from instant gratification, you're going to be much farther along.
But that's not as fun.
Oh, I know. Okay.
well, let's talk about this because somebody brought it up. Michael Stahl will bring this up. He said that, what about the rent to own? Is there opportunities? Do you deal with rent to owns?
Do not deal with rent to own, and here's the reason why. If you have literally a contract that is rent to own, it's next to impossible to get the tenant evicted if they don't pay. And the reason being is,
that's why.
When you go into court, the judge is going to say, "Oh, well, you actually have a purchase agreement here." And I can't.
That's how they look at it.
I can't evict
So they
on a
can't get
purchase
that
agreement.
person out of the house. So that's why.
That's how they look at it.
Is there a
legally.
lot of property managers now just saying we don't do those anymore, rent to owns?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I've never done them for that very reason because I was in
I
court.
wouldn't.
I was in court and it
I didn't know
happened.
that.
Really?
And it happened, of course. And so how do you get around it? There is
Who's
a
that
way,
judge? I'm just
there,
kidding.
there is a way to get around it is that you just make two separate documents
Follow
and you
the
don't
damn
have
laws.
them in one. So you make a rental agreement and you make a purchase agreement, but you separate the two of them.
So that's a big deal. I mean, you
Never thought about
everybody
that.
always asks like, well, why are things happening? Usually it's because of a reason, and we just got the reason here from
That's
Rick.
a legit reason.
Yeah. So
I mean,
legislation, right? I mean,
hard to
you're gonna
argue
have
that
people
one.
that come in and fight the attorneys to try to get that person
Yeah.
out. Who wants to go through that,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, then you have to, I think, I'm not sure on this, but I think you have to go through district court on it. So much longer process.
So out there we have how many homes that people can rent right now, roughly, would you say? I mean, the MLS doesn't have all of them, but there's other ways that somebody can find a home to rent, correct?
Sure. Obviously, if you watch television, there's rent.com and things like that. And those types of places are normally being advertised in different magazines and, of course, online. And they normally are being represent large companies that have huge apartment complexes. You don't see those types of rentals available on the MLS.
Okay. So let's go and talk about real quick on the side of it for the landlord. Like, so if somebody's trying to pick a property manager and they want to, they want to try to get the right information and everybody's in it to make money. It's capitalism, like you just said. So how do you pick the right property manager to work with if you have investment properties?
Okay. First of all, one of the main things that you want to do, obviously, is make sure that both of you are on the same page. So, and that's a huge, that's a pretty big deal. Make sure that the person that you're talking to is somebody that you can see yourself getting along with, and that you are abundantly clear on what your objectives are. You can't, again, expect the property manager to know what it is that you want to have.
I'm sure
happen.
you can't stress that point enough.
I can't stress that point enough.
Because that's the basis of the rest, right?
Yeah, that's the basis of is open communication. Let them, from a owner standpoint, let the property manager know exactly what your expectations are and where it is that you want to go. And that's normally the problem that comes to head in any relationship. Okay, any type of relationship is one person's expectation over the other person's expectation, and what has been communicated and what hasn't. So that's number one. The other thing, I've got a whole laundry list here that would take a really long time.
You got, 7 or 8 pages? Let's go through it. I'm
just joking.
Line by line.
Yeah, no, but here's the big thing when you're looking at property management firms, and a lot of people don't do this. Make sure that you understand what it is that you're signing. And I hesitate, and I don't know. Let me just show this to you if you can see this.
Oh yeah, I can see that.
Can you
Yeah.
see all the yellow on there?
Yeah, it says call Rick Raines today.
Yeah,
I
that's
see that.
pretty much what it says. But
And if you're looking to buy, call Bridget.
but this, all of those lines on there, all of those yellow lines on there, all have to do with compensation for the broker, and this is the standard that's used here in the city from the Las Vegas Association of Realtors, and all those lines that I highlighted, for the most part, our company doesn't do. So it has to do with setup fees. It has to do with lease renewal fees, advertising
So you're
fees.
saying basically that you can charge a bunch of fees, and your company is choosing not to be that critical on these fees because you guys obviously want to get people in. And I think it's somewhat like, I don't know, maybe I'm wrong, but you know that there's different levels of like how HOAs and people deal with things, like as far as property management. You guys are trying to be a little bit more lenient. Is that what you're saying on the fees and more lenient in the overall situation?
Okay, the way this came about, and again, for those of you who don't know me, I've been doing this since 1978. And prior to that, I owned some rentals, and I hired a property management company. And then one of the things that I did not like about what they did was they dinged me every time I was turning around. And I would rather have paid a specific percentage and be done with it and forget about it. Okay, so here's what happens, and it's the same example I gave before. Let's say that one company is charging 10% and another company is charging 8%. Well, if you haven't read the fine lines and you find out that they're charging a full month's rent for every time they do a lease renewal, or a full month's rent every time that they put somebody in, or they charge you for termination of getting out, and they charge you for cancellation fees, and they charge you for this, and they charge you for that, guess what? You're paying more than 10%. It's that simple. But people look at the percentage and they think, okay, I'm going to go with the lowest percent. But here's another thing you think about. On a $2,000 a month rental, from 10% to 9%, that's a 1% difference on $200. That's $20 a month.
Yeah.
Okay, and if they're charging 9% but charging all these other fees,
Then it's made up somewhere else. It's almost like it's a
it's
It's in
wash.
the fine details, man.
it's not even a wash.
Okay.
It's not even a wash. It's just you don't even realize
You're paying a lot more.
They can charge for every notice that they send out. They'll charge you for notices. And I was reading this over, and I was aghast, so to speak, because I haven't looked at this in probably 15 years, to be honest with you, because we have our own. And they're charging for if you go to the court on an eviction. They're charging if they have to talk to an HOA. They're charging for.
Wow.
Now, for me,
crazy.
that should all be included.
Yeah.
So you need to really look over what it is that you're paying for, and we don't do that, just so you know.
I would say that's the same for me as lender fees, right? Because you don't know what you're paying for.
Yeah.
And also title fees, right, Esmeralda?
Definitely on title fees.
You pay for what you get. Yeah, that's
What's that paperclip fee right there?
Oh, that right there, that's
No.
$30
Yeah.
just to have that paperclip. You know why that's so important, right?
We push email.
Because that's part of the French Workbench podcast paperclip. So if it's sitting on the table,
I'll be sitting in the podcast Hall of Fame someday.
What's that?
right?
Push the
So
button.
let's talk a little bit about the rental market, and we'll kind of end this up. So people want to know, as a landlord, as a tenant, there's opportunities out there, right? I mean, it's not like you don't have opportunities for a landlord. Obviously, if you buy a house or you own a house as an investment, you're going to have that at at any point. But I think more as a tenant, everybody's worried that there's not going to be a lot of homes to rent from, so they stay where they're at, and they're hoping that they, don't have their house sell underneath them. What are you hearing some of these stories with these people that when their house is sold underneath them, where do they go? Like, do they find a place to rent?
I can only assume yes, but I got a call yesterday. I mean,
they don't call
really.
you and say, "Hey, we're out on the street now."
They're in the Las Vegas tunnels.
They're in the tunnels. I'm in the tunnel. Come pick me up.
GPS it.
No, I got a call yesterday. I mean, I got a call yesterday, and this girl was panicked. She goes, "I'm panicked. The owner just called me and told me he's going to sell, and I got to get out." Well, how much can you afford? I can only afford this amount. What do you have? I said, I've got one that's like 5 times that, and I've got one that's 3 times that. That's all I've got. Okay, thanks.
And that's it, huh?
I mean,
That phone crashes down and it's like, okay, now I got nothing.
yeah. Well, what's funny about that is on our website, we list our available rentals. And right after I got off the phone, one of my agents had heard me and said, oh, I've got this property available. And I said, how much? And it was within her price range.
Oh, good.
So I quick called her back. It had probably been 4 minutes. And she picked up the phone and I told her, and I said, well, we've got this property. Oh, you do? That's great. Well, I'm talking to somebody else on the other line to see what they've got. And she says, is it one story? I don't know if it's one story. Hold on a second.
It's like being a stock trader.
No, I asked my agent, I put her on hold, I asked my agent, she goes, no, it's 2 stories. I call her back, say it's 2 stories. I pick the line back up, it's 2 stories. Oh, no, I can't do that. Boom. So that's another thing that you need for tenants. You need to keep in mind. You got to be open-minded about if there's anything available in your price range. Yeah. You can't be so picky as to, I mean, maybe there was a physical limitation. I don't know.
Yeah, but what if it's like, okay, I got one here in Henderson, or I'm going to go to D Street, and the Henderson just comes.
Okay, Dan.
That's quite an extreme, dude.
I'm just saying,
I'll
not saying it's bad. I'm just saying, like, what if it's like an area? I'm not saying that D Street's bad. I'm just saying, what if it's a situation where people
I'm not saying it's bad.
don't like the location?
It's not
overall.
Summerlin.
I'm just okay. So you need to weigh your priorities. Do you want a place to be, or do you want to keep looking?
Yeah,
it's that simple.
Yeah.
I'm just saying. I mean, I think people have to sit on the sidelines.
But
So
you're,
if it's not a location that you don't want to be at, right?
And it could be too
I understand.
maybe your job. Like
Right.
maybe it's too far.
Then you got to kind of make that personal decision. It's
Yeah.
not just the location or what's around it. Maybe it's like you said. Maybe it's the job. Maybe your kids
family.
want to go to a certain school.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things that come
Even
into this.
religion.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
All right, so let's talk with Brett. Brett, I'm going to let you, like I tell everybody on Saturday, I'm going to unleash the beast. So,
There's no beast here, man.
Are you crashing? You can't be crashing.
Dude,
I have
plenty of energy. I'm trying to behave myself. I'm trying to be professional for once and let people talk. I know.
Right? So listen, dude.
What are you saying?
So,
yeah. All right, let's quit.
All right, let's do it. So what's happening in the housing market right now? What do you see out there? Where's the properties? How many homes? Is there existing homes
I
out
think
there?
now would be a good time for us to talk about the housing market since we haven't on this show yet today.
Well, we talked about new homes, but are we talking about numbers? Let's get to the numbers.
So we had for residential, single family that didn't include condos and townhouses, there was 4,500,
4,500,
4,600, something like that.
4,500, yep.
So we did this a month ago. There was 3,500.
Yeah. So what do you see?
And then in the past month, it's gone up another 1,000. So that's good because that's more than before, and that's starting to get a little more inventory. However, that's still only a total of like a month and a half supply, and we should have between 3 to 6 months.
Yeah. So what do you see?
We're still like a third under. I mean, that's, if you're gaining, say, 200 homes a week, that's a ways to catch up to 14,000, 15,000.
What's the average home across the city right now, you think?
For price?
For price.
The average
For
resale
existing.
price, I believe, is like 410.
410?
And it's about 225, 226 a square foot, I think.
Okay.
Maybe it's 220. Sorry, it's somewhere.
What is the difference between, let's say, Las Vegas on average versus Summerlin or Henderson? Like, I was looking at some data.
Well, Summerlin is in Las Vegas.
I'm saying square footage.
Oh. Summerlin's the most, by far.
Yeah, but look, so the square footage on Las Vegas is what? You said 220?
227, yeah.
Okay.
So Summerlin, I mean.
But look at Henderson.
Yeah.
Is like I think it was like 245.
Well, so Summerlin as a whole, no matter what part you go to Summerlin, is a lot newer than Henderson.
Yeah.
So, Henderson just had the most expensive home sold. That was $28 million?
Who bought that?
I don't know, but listen, people are like Henderson, blah, blah. I'm like, yeah, well,
Wow.
they have $28 million homes there. So you can take that $227 a square foot, but they still have areas that sell for $20, $25 million homes. So Summerlin overall, Summerlin has homes like that too. They have the Summit, they have Mesa Ridge, stuff like that, the Ridges. But overall, Summerlin is newer. When was Summerlin built? like 93, 94 is when they first started it.
I think so. I'm not sure about. Honestly, I don't know that.
Let alone, I mean, and the fact of the matter is, all of that land is owned by the same corporation, Howard Hughes Corporation. They've always, there's never been any outside people that have came in.
So with all this foreclosure talk and with all this data out there that people say, well, we're going to have the moratorium and all these things are going to happen. I mean, there's opposite data, and I think there's a lot of fear out there. People like to do the YouTube videos and put fear
mongering.
Yeah, they're
it
like
sells.
Yeah,
it sells
dude,
videos,
I'm
man.
telling you, it's crazy. Like, oh, we're going for a crash. I don't know anybody that's ever predicted a crash.
You know what I want to do? I want to do a video on YouTube of all the people last year that were screaming bloody murder, and I want to like go back and review all those videos on there and be like, hey, remember when so and so said it was going to do da 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 da?
They're just trying to get clicks, man.
Wrong.
They're trying to get clicks. There's no validation.
It's
There's no
sensationalism,
credibility.
like news.
But look,
Facts don't matter.
if you go
Just
to the
what sells.
foreclosure situation, okay,
None.
hold on, foreclosures,
None.
People think that it's going to have some impact, not just in here in Vegas,
Mm-hmm.
overall. What are your thoughts on that? I mean, we have credit worthiness. What do you
So
think?
if you have a lot of foreclosures, yes, it will impact the market.
But do you
Do I
think?
think there's going to be a lot of foreclosures? Absolutely not.
Right.
Not at all. And I mean, that's all based upon who's getting the loans. People are doing
The credit's there. I mean, the credit
the
worthiness.
credits there, the jobs
worthiness.
there. They're doing huge percentage down, if not cash. What was it, like 40% of the sales last year or this past year have been cash?
Yeah.
How are you going to foreclose on cash
And
unless they don't pay their property
people
tax?
are sitting on money because of what happened last year. So how? I don't.
So that's
see,
the thing. You have that great migration of people that are coming from cities where their homes, the same home is 3 times there.
dude. The great migration of 2020, 2021.
I'm telling you, it'll be in history books. It will. Everybody knows that. It's a huge shift.
Yeah.
So they're coming from areas where they're paying a lot more money. So they're coming here with plenty. They can buy that home and have plenty of money left.
Challenges of getting an offer accepted, existing and also new homes. What do you see?
What do you mean?
What are some of the challenges that you're seeing with people getting
For resale?
for resale and new homes, like to get into a new home and
new
transit-
home? I mean, it's real simple on both of them. Highest bidder wins.
No secret recipe for this. It's just
Who's got more money? It's capitalism. People are selling their homes to make money.
so like what Esmeralda said.
It's
She
not
said, let's-
complicated.
I think cash.
That's why I do
I still
it.
think
Because
cash is king.
Yes.
Cash is still king.
Yeah.
So you have somebody who's even $5,000, let's say $5,000 over, but they've got to jump through hoops, and somebody's coming in $5,000 less, but it's all cash. That hasn't changed.
Well, yeah, but that all cash and both those offers, whether it's a financing or cash one, are still 30 or 40 grand over.
No, I'm not disagreeing on
Yeah.
that. All I'm saying
so
is
yeah,
cash
I mean, if
is
you're,
still king.
yeah, absolutely. So
I disagree with both of you. No, I'm just playing. Just playing.
that's fine. If you can base it up with facts,
I know.
good luck,
So
because
let's-
I know what I'm doing. No, I'm just kidding.
Let's go back. All right, let's talk a little bit about what's going on in the cryptocurrency world. Okay, so look, one of these songs actually is named Bitcoin.
The crowd is
One of these songs that I'm listening. So, what's going on with cryptocurrency?
going back up.
Why?
Demand. I mean,
Yeah, but
it's
there's
like,
got to
you
be
know.
some reason behind it. It can't just be it's going back
Well,
up.
I mean, it goes in cycles, but I mean, this last time around, what made it go up so much? Because last spring it was $4,000. What made it go up to $65,000 from that jump was a lot of corporations and institutions getting in.
Yeah.
I mean, we're talking like Tesla, we're talking Twitter. I mean, companies that are sticking hundreds of millions, if not a billion or two, into, and now you're having hedge funds that are starting to have their client, they're starting to have better access to it as far as they're allowing it to their clients. So now clients are saying, hey, I think inflation's coming, or I think these things are starting to add up to somewhat of an inflation, and they're using it to hedge. They're saying, I'm going to have this as a protective, as a store of value, as a hedge against the inflation.
Sure.
So that mentality has shifted a lot too. But overall, you're just having it's turned the corner. You're having a lot more adaption and a lot more of real big boy money getting involved.
Tony, do you like look at crypto?
And we're just getting started.
I do not in crypto.
Why do you not believe in it? Or is it like the juju? Like you don't believe in that stuff, right?
A lot of people know about it, but they don't really understand it. That's the problem.
That's why
me.
I
Yeah,
don't
that-
understand.
and I get it.
So I need to talk to you.
So I'm really not sure what it is.
The two
So
of you.
Yeah.
What about
So
you?
it's back to the same thing.
Rick, do you
it's
do you-
it's a trust thing.
Okay.
Yep.
So as companies and more people become involved, and the longer it goes on, the higher the trust value. And as soon as they figure out some of the logistic problems on
Yep.
it, being able to verify accounts and things of that nature, the trust value is going to go freaking through the roof. And I think that it's going to stabilize and or continue to go up, but it will stabilize, and eventually, and it may take years, it'll become the norm. Right now, our currency is based on trust. Gold
Yep.
went out, and this really isn't any different. It's just
It's a belief system
it's
and
a
a
belief
trust
system,
That's
a
all
trust
it is.
system. That's all it is.
So what happens if the government comes out and taxes cryptocurrency?
Well, I mean, listen, there's a lot of
How
things.
much more trust do you want?
Right? Well, right? Exactly, man.
That is true.
Exactly. I mean, anybody who's been in crypto for a while and believes it's the future, we have no, like, there's a lot of things that still
Who's
need
we?
to, everybody in the crypto community. I just said that, bro. Pay attention. No, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding.
Just playing.
So I think we there's a lot of things that still need to be ironed out and worked out, and a lot of problems that still need to be figured out. No doubt about that. But you got to consider too that if it's already doing this and gets up to 65,000 and chase down but to go back up, it's literally cryptocurrency is what 5% of the world is doing it right now. 5%. Wait until that hits 30%.
Well, after this show,
Wait
it's going to
till
be
it
at
hits 35%.
6%, Brett. Good job. Now you're letting everybody know the secrets.
Hey, I'm
buddy.
just trying to spread. I mean, that's all it is like he said, belief system and trust and adaption.
Right.
And it's starting to have all three of those things.
And here's another thing that's slowing it. It's kind of keeping a cap on it at the moment. Is people like me, and I'm just guessing, maybe Tony, whoever, $65,000 for a coin, correct?
Yep.
All right.
It's back
How-
up to 65,000
No,
now? Oh.
it's up to like 49,000. I
Okay,
think.
49,000 for a coin.
Still, yeah, I get it.
So from people that don't understand, how is it that I can get some? Because I don't have 49,000.
You don't need to buy a full one. You can buy them
But
in
that's the
one
part-
100 millionths of a part.
That-
So
that's what people don't understand.
you could barely buy $2 worth of
Well,
it.
I'm just going to go get the equipment and
So
start
look
mining.
at
That's what I'm
Bitcoin
gonna do.
as the store of value, but there's other coins that they have out there that are more compatible with doing huge transactions amount that don't cost really anything, but they're backed by Bitcoin. Just like $1's backed or
Well, I'm going to start.
was
I'm going to
backed
start
by gold.
I'm going to
It's
start
not
mining
anymore.
my own crypto.
We had that conversation and said, go ahead and set up a warehouse in Iceland and you'll be able to compete. The days of sitting on your laptop were gone like 7-8 years ago, dude.
All right, so
You don't stand a chance.
I bring this up because I think a lot of banks are starting to invest in that. It's another way to invest, right? We talk about a lot of money.
They're offering it to their
options.
customers.
Well, and the other thing too is that banks are going to, in my opinion, going to start having to open up a little bit on trying to source that, because people have that as store of wealth to use for down payment and buying a home. Other
KYC.
things. What?
KYC, know your customer. No, that's an actual expression. That's a big thing that the government's looking upon banks right now, and with a lot of the cryptocurrency, which is you need to do your due diligence of knowing your customer, and we're gonna look down, or we're gonna look at you specifically and see what you're doing to make sure that you know your customer.
Yeah.
Because that's
So
the big
let me
thing.
ask you a question. When you said we, do you guys have like some type of meeting?
We have a
with-
private club, like the superheroes club.
Yeah. Is
It's super crypto.
is Satoshi in there? He's talking.
He is, man. He is.
It's in the alley on D Street.
Hey. Satoshi is every man.
Did you know I'm Satoshi?
I'm Satoshi. Big reveal on the podcast. I'm Satoshi.
We got anything else to say, guys? I think we had a great show today. I want to bring up Rick. How does somebody get a hold of you, man, if they want to get some type of property management or just get a hold of you in general?
Our phone number is 702-916-2200. You can go online, property-mgmt.com. That's short for management, MGMT. We're on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram.
Yeah.
So look us up.
Man, you're on all over social media, huh?
And we're there.
You're there. What about you, Brett? Satoshi.
Satoshi. Yeah.
I mean, how does somebody get a hold of you, man, for real estate services?
702-628-3476 or 628-FIRM.
Hey, didn't you buy a
Firm.
Didn't you buy a domain name recently? Did you buy a domain name recently?
Vegas crypto agent. Think about that. I'm so early in the crypto game with Bitcoin and homes that literally I was able to buy VegasCryptoAgent.com for $1.
So let me get
Think
this
about
straight.
that, man.
What if somebody gets confused though? Like, are you an agent? Are you crypto? Like, what do you like? How do you?
Just use one of the 3 words. It'll lead you to me. No, I don't have anything. It's just a name that I bought just because I didn't want anyone else to ever have it.
Yeah, that's cool. Tony, what's
I bought
up, buddy?
like 20 or 30 crypto names for Vegas because I don't want anyone else to have them ever.
Tony, what's up, buddy? Hey, so how does somebody get a hold of you? You're a credit services guy. You help with a lot of credit help and stuff like that. And I mean, you've helped me with some things. I asked some questions for you, so I highly recommend Tony. Use this guy. He's a good dude. How does somebody get a hold of you, Tony?
So 702-724-0500.
And if Tony doesn't do a good job, I'm going to be the first to hear of it. So
Is he the guy you use?
The first thing.
Because you have a credit repair services. Is Tony who you use?
No.
Oh.
But in cases like things like, hey, we need additional help, I got Tony on the sidelines here.
He's got Tony on standby.
Oh, yeah. Tone.
You on standby, bro?
Yeah, is it like The Sopranos? He's like Mr. Tony over
Yeah.
there. Like, if he can't get it done, nobody can, or you'll hire the right person.
Exactly.
My name is Tony Montana. Bunch of cockroaches.
All right, what's going on over here, Esmeralda? Did you already put your investment property on the market, or what? Or what are you doing? You gonna buy one? Like, what do you?
I'm just looking. I like to look for opportunities. So if I think something's an opportunity, then I'll look into it. And if I think it's something I want to do, then I'll move forward. I'm looking into building, actually.
Oh, yeah?
Another
Oh,
house.
build another house?
Yeah, I sold one a while back. Not last year, but the year before.
All right, guys, this is it. We're going to end the show. Thank you guys all for coming and joining us, if you have, and hopefully we've answered some of the questions. If you have not hit the like button, hit the like button.
See the
I know, it's all right. We'll turn it last time.
All right.
Also, subscribe if you like the content. We're going to keep bringing it every Saturday and every Tuesday. This
You know
is
what
the
we
French
do?
Workbench podcast streaming live
bring it.
from Las Vegas. And my name's Dan French. I'm your host. We'll see you guys at the next stream.
Buy Bitcoin.
Out. Thank you for watching an episode of the French Workbench podcast. If you want to tune into past episodes, please subscribe to my channel now. Also, if you want to look at our audio-only options, we do have iTunes and SoundCloud.